right. A very beautiful day, and we're going to be looking at project management terms. And these project management terminologies that we want to talk about are in line with the Project Management Institute usages. These are verbiages that are accepted everywhere in the world when we communicate project related matters. These are terms that we could use for the next person to understand what we are talking about. But I know something that we have been describing different aspects of projects even before today, either traditionally in a way that we can best understand or relate it to the next person. But we want to now start looking at the globally accepted terminology. So when we are on projects away from our hometowns, away from places that people are used to us, people are used to the kinds of words we use, we can still communicate. So these words, we use them every day to communicate project related matters. Let's take a look at them. Now, we would have to first of all set the background of what project is all about. What is project? According to the Project Management Institute, project is a temporary endeavor that is undertaken to create unique products, services, or results. Now there are catch-up words there. The first one is temporary. Temporary means something that does not last forever, which means it has a beginning and it has an end. And then another word that I want to, it may be similar, but it has its own features, distinct features that one can use in identifying it. So when we say project is unique, which means every project has its own scope. Every project will talk about its own unique services, its own unique result that it wants to achieve. Then in the beginning of every project, we may not have clarity of how the pathway would be, but we sure know that as we advance in planning, as we advance in execution, things will become clearer. Such a term is what is called progressive elaboration. That is, as you progress, things will become more and more elaborate. So these are terms that we should be used to. Okay, now we have program. Program is when we have large projects. That is to say, we have small and sub projects and projects put together. So for easy management sake, so they become program. Then when we say portfolio, portfolio we are looking at the very, very high strategic level where much and more programs also can be managed. That is that. So projects and sub-projects, a makeup of project and sub-project makes up program, and one or two or more programs coming together makes up portfolio. So now that we have understanding of project as a temporary endeavor undertaking to create unique products, services, or results, how do we manage this temporary endeavor? The success of our project is dependent on what we know about managing project. And it starts with our definition of project management, our perspective of project management. So project management is the application of knowledge. It is the application of skills, the application of tools, the application of techniques to satisfy project requirements. And things we do in project management from the get-go, we prepare what is called a business case. Just as the name implies, business case, which means we're trying to make some arguments to make people see that the project is worthy. So we prepare a business case to justify the investment. Yeah. Yeah, now we want to justify the investment. And once we put together this business case, in the business case, we would have some description of the project, that is the scoping. We will want to talk about the cost. We want to talk about the risk. We want to talk about the market need identified and what we want to satisfy. We may want to talk about a targeted market and the people that we know would buy it if we dare embark on this project and create that product or that services. We also estimate resources and times. We estimate cost and also come up with project schedule. We also develop and implement management plans. The management plans, we're talking about policies, procedures, things that we would do that will enable us to achieve the project and get it accepted by the stakeholders.
Sorry, those sub points you listed, they are not bold enough. Oh,
This
but
thing,
is that the
yeah,
highest font?
it's under recording. This is on PowerPoint. You are under
Okay,
recording,
okay,
so
okay. All
anything
right,
you
go.
don't hear, anything you don't see clearly, you will hear clearly.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. All right. So that is that. So when we are leading projects, certain times you meet some project team that would be demotivated. And your work as a project manager is to ensure that you get them motivated, because you may not be able to work with people that feel less about themselves or feel less about their project. They are not encouraged about their project. They can't give their best. So you are a motivator as a project manager. So you are leading and you are motivating the project delivery team. Also, you will manage the project risk, the issues and changes on the project. These are things that you must manage. When we say changes, changes occurs, but your job is to ensure that unwanted changes stays away from your project. And the issues too. You have to document these issues in what we call the issue log. You monitor consequences. You have to ensure that you're monitoring actually the cost and every other thing, the quality. Are we meeting it against the plan which we have already? Then we close the project in a controlled fashion when appropriate. Like I said, program is a group of related projects. Now, program management is like a group of related projects managed in a coordinated way. But why are you doing this? You are doing this to obtain benefits. You want trade-off. What you're not getting from project A, you want to get from project B. So you're transferring skills, you're transferring knowledge, you're sharing resources, you're sharing materials. So when you do them together, you must capture value for doing them together, and that's why you group them to be core program. Not all projects must be part of the program, but the program would always have its own project. So one area you must focus in is the interdependencies and how these interdependencies will help you to, optimize your constraints, like your cost. How it will help you to optimize, like your time, your materials, and so forth, your resources. And that's why you're grouping them together. You want to run them either concurrently. So you can see program here in my diagram. I have project 1, project 2, project 3, project 4 in this program. So there's what is called operations, like but certain times some project personnel would not be able to define operations from project. Operations operations are ongoing. They're ongoing productions. They're not like project that has a beginning and end. You see that? They're different. Like you're considering the acquisition, the development, and the utilization of resources that firms need to deliver the goods and services. These are things that you will be doing always. If they're in production, what are the raw materials needed? What are the um, other materials that would ensure that their engines are running, like the diesel and so and so? You keep getting these things. These are operations. So another word that is very important that we must be conversant with as a project management professional is value. Value of projects. So the value of project is like what the project is bringing into the performing organization, what the project is bringing into the company. Upon completion, what will they achieve? There are certain values that you must be conversant with about the project. It, it may be the monetary aspect. When we are done with this project, we will have so much money. Money is tangible. So we got another benefit. Another one for social value the option, which means directly it's more money. It's not tangible because it's not touchable, it's not seeable. Another one is customer service of of satisfying your customers and your stakeholders. And another benefit is that you have the ability to fine tune your products and services and to know what will better serve the customers. And also, when you be on some kind of project, they will give you an innovation to want to identify new products that could be required or more demanding in the market. Projects actually enables changes. Projects can be what drives changes in an organization. It can actually take your organization from your current estate to your desired estate. They are like vehicles. The more you do projects, the better you get them done, the better you'll be positioned in the market. And I bet you will attract a higher market share in your niche. Your niche may be construction of housing or maybe construction of highways. But the more projects you do and you do well, satisfying your customers, the better position you would be. So that's why we would say project actually enable changes. Then, projects are cascaded in phases and in deliverables. What is a phase? A phase is a collection of logically related project activities. When we try to complete a deliverable is what we create that we can see. So phases comes in. That's a collection of logical related project activities. We call them phase. Phase 1 may be foundationing for a building project. Phase 2 may be the completion of the civil works. Phase 3 may be installation of lighting features and piping and instrumentations. Phase 4 will be roofing. And finishing. Anyhow you want it, anyhow you want to define it, that's your phases. But the number of the phases depends on the industry type and size, and you must know this when you're moving into any industry. That's where you have to do your due diligence to know what phases and for you to finish your project. And nothing is placed on stone. As a project manager, you may want to do things your own way. Yeah, your own way. So we have the phases, you create deliverables, the deliverables comes together to give us an output. The output is what we see now, we can relate to it. Also, there is project life cycle. Every project has when it will be initiated and when it will be closed. And this project life cycle depicts the phases that the project typically goes through from start to finish. And certain times, like I said, I talked about the progressive elaboration. From the onset, you may not see through to know that we will do this, do that, and that, and that, and then we will end the project. You may not see through that, but it is still good for you to be able to define them. But as things becomes clearer, you may see better. All right, hold on. I think something is popping up. Let's take it out. I've been seeing notifications coming from some apps. I think I have to stop it. Alright, disable notification. Disabled, okay, it's disabled. So let's move on. Alright, so you now see this is project life cycle. You can see this diagram here. I have plan, I have change, I have hybrid, I have no, these are different kinds. The plan, which means driven by predictive traditional, which means something that you have done before, you know all the steps that will be required. All the steps that will be required is predictive. And another one can be change driven. We truly do not know, but we know that when we meet limitations and as we try to react, we will know what to do. Another could be hybrid. It's a kind of blend between the plan. Some areas are cleared, some areas are not cleared. Then iterative. Iterative is like what we did yesterday or in the previous phases, we will still do them again as we advance. Another could be incremental. What we're going to do next in the next phase is 80% of what we have done before. So we are just doing additionally 2 new things, or 20% will just be new things that we'll do. Another could be adaptive. When we get there, we should know what to do. Let's get there first. As the pressures are coming in, as the demand is moving in, as we get there, we should be able to know what to do. Now you're relying on your expertise of the unknown, of managing the unknown. Then project governance. This is one project management term you must be conversant with, project governance. This governance deals with the framework within which all project decisions are made. These are the people that will authenticate, validate your project selection criteria. They would say they are the ones that has the final say. That this is the project we are embarking on after looking at the cost-benefit analysis of each project. They would say, it's either we are going with this project or that project. If we go with project A, we may achieve better value than project B. These are the people that will make the final decisions. And we have 3 pillars talking about the project governance. We govern project through structures. Every organization must have structures. So there are different structures. In project management, we have the matrix organizational structure. We have the, I'm just introducing them. We have the projectized structure. We have the functional structure. We have the hybrid. Just name them. When we get there, we'll talk about them. And also, organization is also cascaded in how the people behaves, the way the people are once you put three things together and you define them in a way, you have a good decision making framework, which becomes the project governance. I know you might have heard and used the word stakeholders. Stakeholders are very important to every project. We're going to be using these words often and more often. Who are stakeholders? These are individuals, these are people, or maybe organizations that can influence your project positively or negatively. And also, those people, organizations that your project can influence positively or negatively. Is it that they are reacting to your project positively or negatively, or your project is reacting to them positively or negatively? You must identify them, all of them put together are your stakeholders. It doesn't matter if they are the sponsors. Now, let's take a look at some examples. Your project manager, he manages your project, or you negatively influence your life positively or negatively. Your customers, those who will use the product when you're through with the project, your team that will be working with you, the project sponsor that brings the money, if he stops it, you may not be able to continue with the project. And if you do not judiciously manage materials and throw materials away, you would influence the man positively or negatively. You are affecting his pocket. And also the functional manager. Functional manager, we are talking about the departmental heads. Maybe the head of engineering, the head of marketing department, the head of human resources, and all these are stakeholders, people who can influence your project positively or negatively, or people your project can influence negatively or positively.
Please go back, go back. The stakeholders.
You want to ask? Go ahead with your question.
No, no, no. I'm trying to pick up something.
No, you have these things and take your time to do anything you want to do. If you have a question, just ask. If not, you take us back and back and back. You have it. I will send them to you, okay? I can send you the slide also, right? So you can
Okay,
take your time. I'll give you materials now, right? So you take
okay,
your time and make up your notes the way you can best understand it. Now all you need to do is to interact with me, ask brilliant questions. If you can understand, let's move on. And then you take your time to digest certain things. So
all right.
you make your notes down and change them.
Go on, please.
Okay, so we are moving on. Like now, where we are now, the font is pretty low. Um, Pretty low. Let me see if I can increase it. All right, it's the same thing. All right. Okay. Now I want to talk about. Just give me some time. I think I have. We have to edit this. We have to edit this slide. Let me see if it's possible. Okay, it's not possible because of. Let me see. Okay, crop. All right. Let's let's work as we are. Let's work as we are working. Am I not done it cropping it? All right, let's don't distract ourselves. We'll continue. I will explain. And we'll get to better slides. Okay. Now, as a project manager, you have your own roles, and it's always good you know what is expected of you as a project manager. I'm going to just summarize 6 things and explain them the way we can understand them. 6 things that you must do. Even if you did not do anything, you must do these 6 things as a project manager. The first one, you are an initiator. I'm talking about you being somebody who takes the first step, or the one who brings ideas and takes the first action. You, as a project manager, you should be proactive in this area. That makes you the initiator. Proactive in bringing forth new concepts. You should be bringing, new projects and be the one providing solutions to maybe long-lasting problems. That's who an initiator is. They are very innovative, and the initiators are creative people. And as a project manager, you should be innovative and creative. That means that you are expected to be a forward thinker. Who is a forward thinker? A forward thinker is one who drives initiation and development of ideas within a group or an organization. That is your position. You see things before they come near, and ensure that you enable the team to capture them. The next one, too, is you are a negotiator. You are that person who would engage in discussions, talking about formal discussions or maybe informal discussions, to ensure that the organization is reaching a mutual agreement with a particular party, just to achieve an outcome, a favorable outcome for either you and the next party. Certain times, as a negotiator, you would be required to look for common grounds to bring in acceptance. As a negotiator, you ensure that you resolve conflicts. Every now and then, conflicts may arise on your project. And as a project manager, you want to resolve them. Once we get to team makeup, we'll talk about how to resolve conflicts. In a place where you have to shift ground, you ensure that you're shifting ground just to bring an advancement. But how do you get this done? You get this done by your communication abilities, your ability to want to listen to the next person, the way you solve problems. These are your interpersonal skills and how you facilitate effective negotiation processes. These are things that are not taught in the classes. But as long as you have been dealing with people, dealing with materials, dealing with resources, and ensuring that you get the best out of them, you will see that your prowesses in this direction will be increasing. Number 3, I said you listen. You are a listener. You are not listening to want to reply. You are listening to want to get the best ideas. So you must pay attention to things. You must pay attention to thoughts. This may be thoughts coming from your team. This may be you're listening to the way they talk to understand their body language, so you can, beforehand build up their morals. You need motivated team always. That's what makes you a coach. You need motivated team. Because when we have stringent schedules, something happens. The team members may be required to work and put in additional time. How do you motivate them to advance? Maybe a project that you're executing was supposed to be delivered at the end of month 3, which takes 90 days. Month 2 and 2 weeks into the project, you discover that the remaining aspect of the project will take 1 month, which means you are 2 weeks behind schedule. Peradventure, now you have not been treating your team very well and now they are demoralized. How do you meet up? Now remember, they have to double up, right? To do what they used to do. They have to double up what they used to do because you have tight schedule. You want to deliver in a ratio of 2:1. So you need to motivate them. You need to encourage them. That's why your motivation skill is very important. As a coach, you could have been teaching them, showing them what to do. You meet members of your team that will be clueless in certain areas. That's why your mentorship will come in. That's why you start grooming them to improve their performances. And as you do that, their skills will be enhanced. You get feedback from them, you offer guidance, you assist in developing them, and they too will feel better about themselves. Individuals, everybody has hidden potentials, and your job as a project manager is to unlock it for your team members. And also, number 5, you are a working member. You are not just somewhere telling people what to do. You are a member of the team. You have to contribute. Either you're contributing knowledge, you must contribute either your skills, putting some efforts towards the achievement of the collective objectives. You take men somewhere. You should be the one that will take the first step. Number 6, you are a facilitator. A facilitator is that person who would ensure that members of his group, or maybe a particular group, is being managed well when they are having some kind of discussions. You set communication rules, communication guidelines, and standing between for their collaboration to be productive and fruitful. You want to make their coming together efficient so we can make good decisions in the process. Yeah. Anytime you meet with the people, you come up with strategy of structured environment. This environment will encourage the participants to come up with quality results at the end of it. And then we achieve our goals. And when you're doing this, you stay neutral. You don't go and be favoring a particular party unnecessarily. And nobody should even see that in your character, that you are favoring a particular party when you facilitate meetings. You have to focus on maintaining a productive and inclusive atmosphere. Not only these are your responsibilities, there are more. We'll talk about them as we move on. Let's move on. Okay, all right, we've explained this, explained that, all right. Okay, there's another term you will come across, which is milestone, and another one, task, and their durations. The word task can be said to be activities. Now, what is a milestone? A milestone is a significant event or achievement in project that marks a key point or a completion of a major deliverables. I said a milestone is a significant event or achievement in a project that marks a key point. These are human-made. You may say, after the foundation or we get to DPC level, let's say that is a milestone, if we have completed that. Or when we are through with all the block work, it's another milestone achieved. When we are through installing the roofing sheet, it's another milestone achieved. This is man-made. Another person may want to juggle his own areas of celebration. And certain times this milestone could be tied to payment. It depends on what they want to see. It's okay, if you finish the block work, we'll give you 70% payment. At the end of foundationing, we'll give you 10% payment. So these are, you now count your milestone. And then task. Task duration actually refers to the amount of time required to complete a specific activity. The amount of time. Now talking about, I'm going to use foundation because this is a simple, easy analogy for us to relate with. When you are setting out in a building site, setting out means the surveyor is pinning the pegs, tying his rope, taking his measurement. That's set out. So these are activities. How long would that take? Is an activity duration. And who is the right person to tell us about the activity duration, if I may ask you? Who?
Sorry, who's the
Who
right
is the
person
right,
to?
yeah, on the project to tell us how long that activity duration of setting out, that is the surveyor coming in to pin the sticks, tying his stalks
The
around it.
project manager. No?
No, it's not the project manager. It is the surveyor who has been doing that. Can you see that? He tells the project manager. He is the subject matter expert working under the project manager. He is the one that has the hands-on experience. So he
He
tells
says
the
he's a
project
what?
manager
He's a
that,
surveyor.
yes, the surveyor. All right?
Oh, okay.
He's,
So there's a surveyor. There's a quantity surveyor. I thought it's supposed to be a specified surveyor. Like, is it quantity surveyor or what kind of surveyor? Or is it just a surveyor generally?
no, you, you, it's good to want to know that. Um, but from the word survey, survey means inspect. Survey means find out, right? Survey
Yes.
means, so this surveyor is not a quantity surveyor. This surveyor is what? Who? A land surveyor,
Okay.
right?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So a quantity surveyor is different. The quantity surveyor is the one now that will come and look at our project with us and tell us that for this width and this width, I think we will use 10 bags of cement, 10 blocks will come out. That's a quantity surveyor. So we use this quantity surveyor when we want to do the estimate level of materials. That's when we use the quantity surveyor. So who's going to tell us what the tax duration would be for when we are installing the casting and placing blocks for the foundation? Who's gonna tell the project manager how long that will take?
When you're what?
When we are doing the block work in the foundation, the activity of
Yeah, yeah.
blinding the foundation,
Yeah, I'm
placing the
thinking.
blocks in the, so who's gonna
I,
tell
I've,
us?
I've I've not been engaged in building, so I don't
No,
really
no,
have.
no. Don't wait to be engaged first. I want to give you options: architect, civil engineer, surveyor. So what's your option?
Civil engineer. No?
Beautiful. But you know this, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Did you do any civil engineering project?
No, no,
First,
just an overview now. Just the civil
okay,
engineer.
now that is
Yeah,
he's the one that will tell us how long it will take. Can you see you're fetching informations from the architect, fetching informations from the civil engineer, you're fetching information from the land surveyor, you're fetching information from the quantity surveyor, and what are you doing? You are managing all these people put together, getting information from them to form the various tax durations. Now, all these people, who are they? They are your subject matter experts. They cannot manage themselves. So I just use that to explain tax duration, so we'll not deviate. All right? So now your job, you are the one to go and find out who can, this project I'm embarking on. I've not been on building project before. Let me look for the people that should be on this project. Who are my subject matter experts? That's where your due diligence will come. That's your first place of work. Who are the people who used to construct bridge underwater? What and what is needed? Who and who is needed? This is your work. So who you now move on to want to consult another company that has built a project, a bridge underwater before, right? A consultant. That man now becomes your consultant. He now starts supplying you knowledge. Get a civil engineer, or really get a structural engineer. Get what do they call these people? Submersible engineers. No, submarine engineers. Get this, get that, get that. And now you now assemble all these people as your team members. You now start fetching knowledge out of them and start putting it together. You mustn't be someone with expertise in this area. Mustn't be someone with expertise in this area before you embark on. The tallest building in the world, which is Burj Al Arab, was built by a nurse who has knowledge of these things that I'm sharing with you. She's a PMP, a project management professional, and she managed civil engineers and architects, and she was successful, and the project was successful. You see that? So that's how it works. Once you have this knowledge and bringing in, you will see that you can manage anything because you have the methodology, you have the pattern, you have the strategy. You become a project management strategist, if that's how you want to describe yourself after you became a PMP. That's how I describe myself: the solutions architect, the number one consultant, the project management strategist. So either way it goes. Thank you. Let's move on. So now, if you take a look at this, I have project roles. There are different roles on project. We have the project manager, we have the project coordinator, we have the project expediter. So at the end of this our training, you will be you'll be a project coordinator. You can be a project expediter. You can be a project planner. You can be a project associate project manager. You can be a junior project manager. All these are different roles. So now the project manager, what is his role? He's empowered to lead the project. He's the one who authorizes the decision making on the project. He's responsible for the success and the failure of the project. Everything rises and falls on the project manager. The project coordinator, he is a weaker project manager, but he works with the project manager. He does much responsibilities are not given to him, much decision making. He could be authorized to make certain decisions. Then we have the project expediter, which is his less role. He has very limited decision making ability. So different roles. So these are roles. If you see that the project manager role, the one is too much for you, if the project is big, you ask them to make you a project coordinator for 3 months, and then you become a project manager, or make you a junior project manager. You work with the project manager for some 6 months. Now they give you your own project, and if you can demonstrate knowledge, you now start running things in-house for them as the number one. We have the project management office. And that's where all your project management activities will be done. And it's a kind of organizational structure that actually standardizes the process and facilitates the sharing of resources, methodology, tools, and techniques across all projects. This is the office enshrined to oversee all project-related activities. At the end of this training, you may now what these engineers are working, their active roles. They support the project manager. such as they provide the templates, they give him the required training, they provide the lessons, archive the lessons learned from the project, and also supply the lessons learned from other projects to enable the project manager achieve his roles and achieve the project success. They may be savage with the responsibility of controlling. This determines the framework or the methodology used of specific forms. When we say controlling, we are looking at the project controls department. And if your responsibility is to ensure that projects are done well and our project could be done better, all the materials, all the templates, or everything needed is their responsibilities to put them together. They come up with who is going to be the scheduler, who is going to be the estimator, who is going to be the cost engineer. All these things put together are in the controlling of the project. That may be the responsibility of your project management office. And also directive. Directive, they control the project. The project manager will be assigned and reported to the project management office. He does not go there and everything does not rise and fall on him. He's just only sent out. He can be taken away from that place and sent to another place the next day. So the project management offices as what? They play supportive role, or they play controlling role, or they play directive role, or all the three, or two of the three. The people in charge of the project, these are the people that everybody on the project look up to. I'm talking about the project bosses, like the sponsor, the program manager. Now, who are the sponsors? Sponsors can be either internal or external. It could be the project champion, the person bringing the money, or the group bringing the money. And these sponsors may resolve conflicts in the project. All right. So the responsibility of the program manager may be that he's responsible for several projects executing at the same time, may be used to also resolve conflict in the project, while the sponsor could be at the organizational level or on top of the program manager or the project manager. I told us about organizational structure. Every organization, including the one you are working in now there, has a structure at the managerial level that they are operating with. That may not be stated at your pay grade, but that is what is done. So what are the structures? We have the functional organization. The functional organization, it is the organization that has to do with different departments. Now, the departmental heads are the leaders of any project-related activities. For instance, we have procurement department. When it comes to buying a thing, even for a project that a civil engineer is on, the civil engineer must consult the procurement manager before he can buy those things and be used. You see that the functional manager is the head. In where we have the functional organization, everybody, whether you're a civil engineer, whether you're a project manager, you report to the functional manager. If the project is an electrical installation project, the project manager reports to the boss in the electrical department. Everybody working on that project reports to the electrical department boss. That's when we say it's a functional organization. Function is not that something is working. Functional means a departmental, a domain project, a project that relates to a particular aspect of knowledge. It could be chemical engineering, functionality. Then we have the matrix organization. In the matrix organization, it's a blend of the functional organization and also the projectized organization. The matrix means that some days the departmental heads, they have power. The other time the project manager has power. So there are three matrix structures even under this matrix organization. We have the weak matrix, we have the balance matrix, we have the strong matrix. Now I'm going to explain them to you. What is a weak matrix? A weak matrix is when the project manager has smaller power as compared to the functional manager. You see, under the matrix organization, weak matrix, now the project manager is not as strong as the functional manager in decision making. He is strong, but not as strong as him. Then the balance matrix, they share 50-50% power. They make decisions together. They must agree equally or else nothing will move. Then the strong matrix, as the name implies, the project manager has a stronger power to make the final decision. He has the highest authority in relation to the functional manager's authority. But the functional manager still has a kind of power, but his power now is limited. There are certain things he can decide. Then number three is the project-oriented organization, which is called the projectiles. Now all these things that I'm saying, you're going to listen to them and write them out. This is project management we are talking. This is how you will communicate. When you are talking to people, what kind of organization are we talking about? When you ask them, what kind of structure do we have here? They'll just turn and look at you. I mean, it's like, this guy knows what he's talking about. Or which kind of organization do we have to go by to deliver this project? All these are areas where you have to make your judgment and you have to know what power, what authority that is being given to you. So this is one of the first things you must know when you're brought into an organization or you're brought into a project. So the projectized organization, you are the overall as the project manager. Please, you are the boss who has the power to fire and hire any functional manager. Here, nobody will know you are in charge. You can run any man out of your project site. Every project team member is assigned to you on a full-time basis. You may want to use them to fry akara or fry puff-puff. Now you know, as long as you deliver the project. And when the project is complete, the project team members moves on to other assignments within the organization. You carry your team, you work go another place. These ones, they serve you. So when we have a blend of these, we call it an hybrid. Any question?
At what point do you? At what point, like you said, when you were teaching, when you were talking about the organization structure, the weak, the weak, is it the weak organization you said or something?
The weak
Uh,
matrix.
the weak matrix. At what point does the project manager knows? Okay, just state a scenario where the weak matrix comes to play.
All
At what
right.
kind of project or something? How does the project manager? Okay,
All
this is
right.
a weak matrix or something, and oh, yeah.
That's a brilliant question. We need to debug that. We are in an organization, an LNG project organization, and then we are constructing an LNG now. Pam, 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 pam. And then you please, the project manager is in charge of the construction of the cold box. And in the construction of the cold box, you are dealing with some subcontractors, right? Some suppliers, the vendors bringing materials and that. And then you need one procurement guy, Jacob, to be on that project, to be with you there. So he will be the one looking at all the inventories of the materials delivered and see if they are bringing the right quality and if they are buying them with the right price. And you now go to the organization and you told James, who is the head of procurement department, say, I need Jacob on my project now. Please release Jacob. He looks at you, said, okay, I will release Jacob, but only for 2 days. You said, no. He said, I can only give you Jacob for 2 days. So anything you want to do, ensure that it would not pass 2 days. I need him in another project. But I am ready to give you ISO forever. Okay, it's okay. There's nothing I can do. All right, give me Jacob for 2 days. Or you now start negotiating, pleading that he gives you Jacob for 3 or 4 days. He said no, and at the end of the day, he could only release Jacob for 2 days. Can you see that your power is weaker as compared to his power? The organization has stated that procurement department should be involved in your project too, but you don't have the right to pick Jacob and use him anyhow you like.
Okay.
He is the one. Now, where you have problem is when you do not have a procurement personnel on your own project entirely. Now you now start making troubles. And you will now say, I gave you ISO. Can you see that your power is weak? Both of you make decision, but you have a limited power, right? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. I say yeah.
Okay, so that's like a weak matrix. But in the strong matrix, you just go pam, 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 and you told the project, the functional manager, so okay, I don't want Jacob, I need you to be on this project now. He now says, okay, there are other departmental work given to me, oh, please just let me come tomorrow. I will join you tomorrow. Let me use 1 week or 1 day to finish or tidy up other areas. And he said, okay. And he tides it and then comes to join you. So that's that.
Okay.
Should we move on?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can take a look at this chart. This chart stays in my head. Of all what we have talked about, I carry this chart like a baby in my head. You see, all these things I'm telling you, you may be seeing them in an examination hall. Can you see the PM? Can you see my cursor rotating? I want you to look at your screen.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Can you see the PM, who is the project manager?
Yeah,
Now, we
yeah.
said in a functional organization, it has little or no power. The functional head is in charge, right?
Yeah.
Can you see
Yes.
that? You can see that the functional organization, the project manager has little or no power, right? If it is
Yeah.
electrical engineering project, the electrical engineer, engineering departmental head makes all the decision. And when we move to weak matrix, his power becomes low. We move to balance matrix, he has low to moderate, right? Strong matrix, the project manager has moderate to high. And projectiles, he has total power. The way the functional manager has total power in functional organization, the projectized organization, the project manager has high to total power, right? Can you see it? It's making sense
Yeah.
now, right? So now, the same thing will happen when they want to drag resource availability. They want to say Bliss must be on this project or Bliss must not be on this project. The same power decision they will make. You see? In also deciding how much, what should be the project, and what should be the project cost. Since it's an electrical engineering project, it's a functional project, and totally, you can see that in a functional organization, the functional manager is deciding how much the budget will be. Now they talk everything. In a weak matrix, now instance and $40,000, project manager, if you know like go and start working. Then in the mixed matrix, they have a kind of, in the mix, that is balanced matrix, they are sharing 50-50. As they go to strong matrix, the project manager is making the decision again, and the project manager is making the decision in projectized matrix again. I'm talking about project management role in the functional organization. He is part-time. He's working as a part-timer because they do everything now. If you stay for house, they work remotely now through offers. Also in a weak matrix, he's a part-timer. Sometimes in a balanced matrix, he works full-time. Some days they tell him, oh man, throughout this month, you'll be coming to the office. Right? As needs arise, he will know. The same way we move on into project management staffing and so on and so forth. When we get to projectize, he's a full-timer. I know this is actually making sense to you. You can't argue that. Now, as a smart project engineer, as a smart project consultant, as a smart project strategist, as a smart project manager that you are today, as commissioned by me, please, Um, there's a word I want you to be conversant with, and need you to use it every now and then, which is called constraints, project constraints.
Mm-hmm.
Can you pronounce it? Let the congregation hear.
Project constraints.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, don't mind me. I'm just doing that so we'll stay awake. So project
Mm-hmm.
constraints are very important. These are things that you must be conversant with. These are things that are always short in supply. These are things that if they are not managed well, your project will not be successful. And they are called triple constraints. The project constraints are called triple constraints. They are not three. They used to be three in those days. When we started project management some 13 years ago, they were just scope, schedule, and cost. But when we move
Mm-hmm.
further, we now discover that they are more. Risk too can cause a constraint on the project. Quality also. Resource availability too can be a constraint.
Mm-hmm.
So we have scope as a constraint, we have schedule as a constraint, we have cost, risk, quality, and resources as the triple constraints. So this
Mm-hmm.
makes up your project. These are constraints on your project. And you must ensure that you are defining and managing them very well. If you
Mm-hmm.
lack on any side, your project would fail.
Mm-hmm.
If you give out the wrong quality, they would not accept it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you use resources that are not sufficient, you may not achieve what you want to achieve within the speculated time. If you cannot identify the risk and plan for the risk on time, unwanted things would happen to you. If you don't have the right money, the right amount, if you don't define the cost very well, if you can't manage cost very well, you may be achieving less for more. If you cannot define the time, you may be spending more time on things that you could have spent less time. If you cannot define your scope very well and manage your scope, what will happen? You will be doing job that is outside your scope. Those are unwanted changes. Yeah. Okay. All right. We've talked about this area. We talked about predictive. But now let me bring it. There are project management approaches that are very important that you must know. You know them. Remember, your lecturer told you to go and um, study agile project management. That is to become a Scrum Master. True or false?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the Scrum Master uses the agile methodology of project management. Now most of them they are about IT projects. So with the two approaches which we have in the predictive approach, which is also the traditional approach, also called the waterfall approach. These three put together, they are one. They are called the predictive, which means we plan everything from onset. We come up with the project plan before we embark on the project. That is predictive. Number two is the agile. The agile methodology is an iterative methodology. What we have done before, we will repeat it in the next phase. What we did then, we will keep on repeating that strategy. We don't plan for everything. It follows linear and sequential process. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, the predictive rather follows linear and the predictive follows linear and sequential process, which means we must come up with detailed plan, document everything upfront, identify the objectives. There must be an extensive upfront planning, sequential execution. We must emphasize on control and documentation when we are planning. And in this phase, we We have limited flexibility. We would not want to change anyhow. Before we would change, remember our project governance. They would have to approve every changes before we can. But the iterative method, which is the adaptive method, that is the agile method, it's not like that. They don't care about the future. The job they want to do now is what they want to plan for. They don't want to waste time in planning. That is what, that approach. They all have their that's one area that people that people used to confuse themselves, but I want us to have an understanding of these two. So product management actually encompasses the strategic planning, development, and the life cycle management of the product or services. The life cycle management of the product, which means you're talking about the product has been created, and then you take up from there. You now start managing how to elongate the lifespan of the product. You have designed the factory. The factory will have a lifespan, right? It will have a, so you want to look at the different life cycle, how the factory will depreciate, and until when we will be able to do away with it. And this involves understanding the market needs of the kind of products you're creating, defining the product strategy, and how you will gather requirements, and how you will oversee the product development, how you will launch, and how you will, optimize cost, optimize time, and every other thing for the product. So the product managers are responsible for the overall product, the overall success of the product. Now, this product management knowledge is also needed in the project management, because these are things you want to achieve. But now you are coming up with a kind of blend as a project manager. You want to focus on the work needed to achieve every good thing about the product. What are the work needed? So you focus on the successful execution and the delivery of specific project within a defined. You want to come up with plan and identify activities that will achieve the features of the desired product. So your scope covers and what? The product scope. That may not fit in the market, may not serve the market very well and attract the desired resources. So just make sure to identify them as professional project managers. The risk are potential events or situations that may occur in the future. Potential. Can you see that? So that's why we potential event that may occur or positively. I'm introducing the term positively or negatively. Risk can be positive. When an event that you did not plan for is, whether positive or negatively, is said to be risk, then what that are in manifestation. So the problems, the challenges that arise during the course of the project, now the manifested risk becomes an issue. But when before their manifestation, they so may call them the negative risk that have occurred, because they want to cause stoppages in the advancement of the project. While assumptions are things you carry in your head or in your mind that you believe to be true, whether you have tested them or not. The constraints are limitations or restrictions that affect project planning and execution. That's why I gave you the triple constraints, and you know that they're more than three. We have scope there, we have schedule there, we have quality there, we have risk there, we have what again? Yeah, time there, right? So that's that. As a project manager, you should see yourself as a leader than just being a manager. Yeah, there are times that you will need to manage your project, but coming out from the outlook of a manager, of a leader, is always better, because as a leader, you will mentor people, you will be patient, you will listen, you will initiate ideas. But my manager doesn't do that. There will just be that they focus on the task and how to achieve the task. All right. So that is just on the summary level. Now another word, emotional intelligence. How could you deal with people successfully without being intelligent emotionally? Now, what do we mean by emotional intelligence? As a project manager, you should be able to know yourself and the way you behave in certain circumstances, and making sure that you also have understanding of the way your team members, your stakeholders behave in varying situations, and not allowing the way you behave make them to behave in a way that your project will not be advanced, you will not progress. And also not allowing the way they behave to make you to behave in a way that we will not achieve progress in our project. That is it. Any other professional may want to explain it in a way that is different from what I've explained it, but this is know yourself and know others. And know the way you behave that can make others behave in an abnormal way, and a normal way, and a better way. And know the way others behave that can make them behave, make you behave in a normal way, in an abnormal way, and in a better way. Then you have a good emotional inclination. That is to say, it involves being aware of one's emotions and effectively handling them, empathizing with others, and using your emotions to guide thinking and behavior in project management. This is somehow, right? The definition. Is it clear? Do you like
Yeah.
explanation? All right, so that is about that. So you make decisions, you relate with people, you build relationship, you manage communication and conflict, you motivate and influence people, you discipline people and reward people. As a project manager, you discipline too, okay? You award and reward also. So this actually brings us to the end of our today's training. We were to spend 1 hour, but we ended up spending 1 hour 30 minutes, and no big deal. It is good. So 1 hour 15 minutes the actual class. So I'm gonna end the recording.